Jennifer Lopez has been embarrassing herself on her tour again. First, it was her tiny outfits, leaving pretty much nothing left to the imagination, and now it's her dance moves. While she is known for her over-the-top performances, some fans seemed uncomfortable with her new provocative dance moves she's been doing recently. She thinks the raunchier the better. Where is someone to tell her, "No, Jen?" someone commented on one of the dance videos. Now, a Twitter user posted, "I like her music, but what a horrible role model for young girls. Think back to Motown, all amazing musicians who never had to turn all stripper style to sell music." Meanwhile, some fans thought the performance was straight up cringy and said, "This attention-seeking salute is super cringe," and a different fan expressed the same thing and noted, "J.Lo's performance looked more like a cry for attention than a celebration of talent. I'm sorry, but this is not entertaining," the commenter added. Now, speaking of her tour, earlier this month, J.Lo made headlines after she took a swipe at her ex-husband, Ben Affleck, while performing during her European Up All Night tour in Spain. Now, before she sang her latest breakup song, Wreckage of You, she spoke about how the song was created during a sleepless night. "This is a song that is a new song that I want to sing for the first time tonight that came to me when I was up all night one night," she said, as captured by a post on Instagram. While performing on stage on July 16th, which coincidentally was what would have been the 3rd anniversary of J.Lo and Ben's Las Vegas wedding on July 16th, 2022, J.Lo spotted a sign that read, "J.Lo, marry me." Now, she responded to the fan by saying, "I think I'm done with that. I've tried that a few times," she added. Now, is this tour showing us that she's going through a midlife crisis, not sure what to do with herself? This could very well be a real possibility. Now, you see, Jennifer has been married 4 times, to Ojani Noah from 1997 to 1998, Chris Judd from 2001 to 2003, Mark Anthony from 2004 to 2014, with whom she shares her twins Emmy and Max, and finally Ben Affleck, who the performer married in 2022 before their split in 2024, and their divorce was finalized in January of this year. Now, Jennifer was also engaged to Alex Rodriguez from 2019 to 2021, and before that she had been engaged to Ben from 2002 to 2004. Yeah, she's had a lot go on in her life. Now, it's rumored that she's dating one of her film co-stars, Brett Goldstein. It's been reported that Ben Affleck actually knows about this, as a source has said that Ben thinks Brett should get out of it if he knows what's good for him. The source continued to say that he's too swept up by J.Lo to see what's happening to him. But despite that, the insider also claimed that Ben is relieved that the singer is focused on something new. Now, there seems to be so much going on with J.Lo right now, and I think she needs to slow it down a bit.
Jennifer Lopez is back in the headlines again, and not for the reasons she'd probably hoped. At 56 years old, the superstar is currently on tour celebrating her birthday and her decades-long career, but instead of applause, she's getting roasted, and not in the fun Comedy Central way. Let's talk about that moment first, when J.Lo decided to stop mid-performance to announce to her audience that she has, well, intimate encounters with men. She announced this out loud, proud, and just baffling. I mean, the crowd was audibly confused, like, okay, thank you for that, Jen. It was honestly the kind of awkward overshare that made you want to clutch your pearls and just check if someone's aunt accidentally wandered on stage. Fans were quick to call it desperate, saying it felt less like female empowerment and more like someone trying just way too hard to be shocking in a world that's already seen it all. And then there's the dance routine that's now circulating online, because of course it is. In this viral moment, Jennifer performed an extremely graphic routine, simulating various inappropriate positions while her dancers surrounded her on stage. Look, J.Lo has always been known for her confidence and sensuality, but this wasn't a hot comeback. It was giving high school talent show if the theme was like trying to be edgy for attention. Even her most loyal fans were confused. Comments rolled in, saying things like, "This isn't art, it's awkward," and "Why is she grinding the floor like she lost a contact lens?" Even Megyn Kelly jumped in to tear her apart, of course, comparing her act to softcore POR. You know what I'm saying and where I'm going with that. So yeah, and questioning, why a woman of J.Lo's caliber with her decades of success feels the need to go this far to stay relevant. Kelly said it bluntly. She's humiliating herself. And to be fair, it's not entirely wrong. J.Lo has built an empire off talent, discipline, and image control. So watching her crawl across the stage like a college freshman at her first frat party feels off-brand at best and cringe at worst. Now, the Daily Mail covered her 56th birthday show, calling it a celebration of her life and body, but even their coverage read like a polite family member trying to support your bad decisions with a forced smile. The performance wasn't about vocals, it wasn't about dance precision, it was about J.Lo proving yet again that she's still that girl. But instead of, slaying, she slid straight into secondhand embarrassment territory. I mean, the irony, this tour is titled This Is Me Now, as in this is the evolved present day version of Jennifer Lopez. But if this is the new her, it's looking like the old her might have been better at reading the room, because while she's out here serving still hot and I'll prove it, the public is quietly saying, we know girl, but we don't need a live demo. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about ageism. Madonna, Cher, Tina Turner, plenty of icons have kept it hot, fierce, and fabulous well into their later years. But what makes them stand out is that they know how to evolve with their audience, not against them. J.Lo's recent performances are starting to feel, less like a celebration of her legacy and just more like a panic response to dwindling attention. In a social media age where, virality is currency, Jennifer's kind of leaning hard into shock value, but at what cost? I mean, she's losing the mystique, the elegance, the cool girl confidence that made her a global icon. Instead of reinventing herself, she's chasing clicks, and honestly, it's getting a little painful to watch. So yes, Jennifer Lopez, has humiliated herself again, and unfortunately this time it's even worse than the last. But it doesn't just look desperate, it looks like she's forgotten who she really is. Jennifer Lopez is not okay, and many people think she's going through a midlife crisis due to her behavior. First off, we have to talk about her Pride performance. Shocked fans when she hit the stage in dangerously high-cut bodysuits during her World Pride performance in Washington, D.C. Now, she shouldn't have been wearing something like that. It was way too risky, and she could have had a seriously bad wardrobe malfunction. What she was thinking when wearing this, we have no idea, but people online have called it inappropriate and say that she's too old to be dressing that way. Honestly though, I don't think anyone should be wearing an outfit like that. Fans made comments about the outfits online, and one person said, I admire what great shape she's in, but time to stop trying to be a young pop star. One user wrote of a TikTok video featuring her performance. Now another question, why do artists feel like they need to dress like this? The dress code needs to stop. And a third added, I'm embarrassed for her, my toes are fully clenched, yikes. J.Lo seemed to not care though. Per Out magazine, Lopez stopped to thank her queer fans amid her performance. Over the years, your love and your support have been a source of strength for me, and today I am here to celebrate you, she said to the crowd. I'm so happy to be able to be here and celebrate community, diversity, love, and freedom. Then after her performance, she posted photos on Instagram where she captioned them, major shout out to @TheBlondesNY for slaying my sparkly World Pride stage looks, and to @FashionBy Rayoritz for that fierce black catsuit moment. If she saw any of the backlash, she definitely didn't care. J.Lo first hosted the award show in 2005, so this wasn't completely new to her. Unfortunately for her though, the 2025 AMAs was branded as the worst AMAs in the awards ceremony, the 51-year-old's history by many viewers. Now, why may you ask? Well, there were hardly any A-list celebrities there. A lot of the key performances were actually pre-recorded and not live, and there was a ton of drama about who won what awards. Now, overall, the night was just messy, and having J.Lo's name attached to it definitely was not a good thing. Not to mention, J.Lo embarrassed herself in her performance when she opened the show with a medley of the most popular songs of the year. Many people felt the performances, fell flat, while others thought it was a desperate attempt to get attention. For example, during the performance, J.Lo kissed a male dancer. Okay, whatever. But then she went and kissed a female dancer. Many people thought this was an attempt to draw more attention to J.Lo, bring shock value to her set, but a lot of people online ended up up just making fun of the star and straight up just didn't care about what happened. It just wasn't a good look and made J.Lo look even more pathetic. Then after the show, J.Lo made everything about her as she announced her new Las Vegas residency. Yep, it seems like her hosting the show was just a setup for her to promote herself since she had to cancel her last tour, a tour which, by the way, had very poor ticket sales. It seems like J.Lo is doing all she can these days to get the attention on her, but the truth is, it's actually making people just feel bad for her and wondering if she's truly okay.
Jennifer Lopez's career is over. I mean, did you see her at the American Music Awards? After almost 3 years of being off the air, the AMAs returned on Monday night for the 51st annual event. It was hosted by Jennifer Lopez, who first hosted the show in 2015. Now, some fans went as far as to brand the 2025 AMAs as the worst AMAs in the award ceremony's 51-year history. Now, there were hardly any A-list stars, a bunch of the performances were pre-recorded, and a lot of people didn't agree with the winners. Now, J.Lo did perform, which included a medley of the most popular songs of the year, which many felt fell flat. Now, at one point in her performance, J.Lo locked lips with a male dancer before a female dancer approached her and she kissed her as well. Now, many people thought this was a desperate attempt to draw more attention to J.Lo, bringing shock value to her set, but a lot of people online ended up making fun of the star or straight up didn't care about what happened. "I had to kick things off, you know that, turning it up all the biggest songs of the year and dancing my heart out for all of you," J.Lo said after the set, before saluting to the nation's veterans as the AMA's award show took place on the Memorial Day holiday. But again, people didn't really care. It seems like this hosting gig was a setup for Jennifer, as after the show, she announced her Las Vegas residency. "Surprise, J-lovers, we're back. I'm doing a residency in Las Vegas. Join me for Up All Night Live in Las Vegas at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, December 30th to January 3rd, and select dates in March," she posted to her Instagram account. This residency marks J.Lo's return to Las Vegas after her previous record-breaking show, Jennifer Lopez All I Have, at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino, which featured 120 performances from 2016 to 2018, grossing more than $100 million. Now, this residency promises to keep audiences up all night, singing, dancing, and living it up with J.Lo, who'll be performing hits from across her musical career, along with exclusive, never-heard-before songs. We just feel things out. There's not a, like, we're gonna do this at this time. I just feel like I'm ready to perform again. I had to cancel my tour last year, so I've been thinking of performing a lot, and I had such a great time when I was here in Vegas, J.Lo told Las Vegas Now on May 26th. You see, J.Lo had plans to go on tour in the summer of 2024 as she announced her This Is Me live tour, but it was cancelled as she stated that she needed to take time off to be with her children, family, and close friends, and expressed that she was completely heartsick and devastated about letting her fans down. Turns out though, she was going through marriage problems with her then husband Ben Affleck, and they eventually got divorced, but some fans think she's doing this Vegas residency to make back all the money that she lost from the canceled tour. This all seems like a desperate attempt to make more money. And before J.Lo even canceled that tour, her ticket sales were horrible, and she had to rebrand the whole tour because fans didn't connect with her most recent album. Now, hopefully this residency goes better for her, but we'll just have to see how the ticket sales go. Starting off, we have her new album flopping. Now, in its first week, Jennifer Lopez's new album, This Is Me Now, debuted on the Billboard 200 at the number 38 spot before dropping off the chart altogether. Now, this was definitely not what she was hoping for with this album. J.Lo's devastated the album, her first in nearly a decade, did so poorly. She's never experienced this kind of failure. It's humiliating, a source exclusively told In Touch. She poured her heart and soul into this project. It was a huge undertaking. Jennifer released the album in February as a sequel to her 2002 record, This Is Me Then, which was written amid her and Ben Affleck's first engagement. Although the two eventually split in January 2004 and went on to marry other people, they reconciled nearly 20 years later in 2021. Ben proposed in March 2022, and the couple tied the knot that summer. Ben was her muse for both of these projects. Next is that she treats her employees badly. According to several of J.Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Pay-Lo because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere, which is crazy because her current net worth is $400 million. But because she had to work hard for her money, she believed that others should work hard too. Now, an incident related to this happened in 2003. Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with her then boyfriend Ben Affleck, and the pair had a big win, and Ben decided to drop a $2,000 tip to the dealer. But before the dealer could scoop up the generous reward, J.Lo snatched up the cash and swapped it for $200 instead, which is just rude and was not her call. Then she got a maid fired. In 2002, Jennifer starred in the romantic comedy Made in Manhattan. She went all over the world promoting the romantic comedy, and when she landed in London, she had people talking about her demands. When promoting the movie, she had a very interesting encounter with hotel staff, as she stayed at the Metropolitan Hotel and showed her early signs of being a diva. The hotel staff was amazed by her lavish and extravagant demands, as it was something they'd never seen before. Apparently, she requested the hotel staff to provide her with thousands of pounds of lemon-scented candles. Not to mention, she only travels in style when it's a short distance. She had 7 limousines escort her to lunch at the Dorchester, only 200 yards away. And then in 2012, it was reported that she had a maid fired from her job, although she repeatedly denies it. Jennifer was staying at the Milia Dusseldorf in Germany, and a maid working at the hotel Prey Doja approached the diva's room to get an autograph. Now, she spoke with J.Lo's assistant, who denied her, and the next morning Prey was fired. She said, "A day later, the cleaning company that employed me at the hotel called and said that Miss Lopez had complained. I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph." Now, Jennifer and the hotel deny that she was fired for that specific reason, as J.Lo called the story hurtful, but who knows? Now we have her performance demands. In 2013, J.Lo was set to perform at the opening ceremony of the Indian Premier Cricket League. Now, the event is often compared to the Super Bowl and has quite a large audience. The year before, 56 million viewers tuned in to watch Katy Perry perform, and it was estimated that J.Lo would get an audience close to 60 million. However, her demands essentially cost her the event. She asked for a large number of hotel rooms for her massive entourage, which included her personal chef and stylist. Now, she also demanded a private plane, and in the end, organizers rejected her requests and instead brought in Pitbull to replace her, as it would cost them less money. Now, I'm sure she thought she was irreplaceable, but she wasn't. Now, you'd think she'd learn her lesson to not ask for so much after that encounter, but I'm sure she continued on with those demands. Speaking of, let's talk about the demands for American Idol. Listen up, everyone. J.Lo does not come at a cheap price. You want her as an American Idol judge, then you have to pay her $20 million, and that's per season. Yep. It turns out that the pay for sitting in a chair and judging people isn't all that bad, as in 2011, J.Lo was paid approximately $12 million to replace Simon Cowell on American Idol. Time reports that J.Lo's American Idol salaries have ranged from $12 to $20 million. While Jen's presence has been credited for rejuvenating the show, the price tag remains shocking. And now that Katy Perry has left the show, there is rumors about J.Lo replacing her, but again, that will come at a huge price. Then there's her canceled tour. On May 31st, it was announced that Jennifer's This Is Me Live summer tour was cancelled. Live Nation confirmed the cancellation to the Associated Press, stating Jennifer is taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. In addition, Jennifer released a statement of her own on her On the J.Lo website, explaining the reason behind the cancellation. She wrote, "I'm completely heartsick and devastated about letting you down. Please know that I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel it was absolutely necessary." She added, "I promise I'll make it up to you and we will all be together again. I love you all so much. Until next time." The This Is Me Live tour would have been Jennifer's first in 5 years. It was going to be in support of her first solo album in 10 years, This Is Me Now, and its companion film. Now, rumor has it that poor ticket sales and an impending breakup with her husband of 2 years, Ben Affleck, might have contributed to the tour's cancellation, and this would explain why she needed to spend time with her loved ones. Moving on to lying about plastic surgery. Jennifer has been accused of getting plastic surgery many times, but each time she denies it. In 2013, when a UK-based plastic surgeon analyzed pictures of her on Twitter, he claimed that they showed signs of cosmetic work, and she hit back adding him, saying, "Sorry sir, but I've never had plastic surgery of any kind, #fact," she tweeted. Then on January 15th, 2021, Jennifer posted a video on her Instagram revealing the results of that limitless glow sheet mask from her new beauty line. A fan took to the comments to accuse the singer-actress of achieving her ageless look with something more than a mask, saying, "You definitely had Botox and tons of it, and it's all good, just saying." Now Jennifer commented back and said, "LOL, that's just my face. For the 500 millionth time, I've never done Botox or any other injectables or surgery. Just saying, get yourself some J.Lo beauty and feel beautiful in your skin." And here's another J.Lo beauty secret: try spending your time being more positive, kind, and uplifting to others. Don't spend your time trying to bring others down. That will keep you youthful and beautiful too. Now we have the self-financed movie. Now after her album This Is Me Now, Jennifer created her own movie based on the album called This Is Me Now, A Love Story. According to a Variety interview, the album, film, and accompanying documentary cost $20 million in total to produce. Now once it was done, Amazon then purchased the project. "We went in over budget. It was a challenging project in that way. It's like there could have never been enough money for the project," she told The Hollywood Reporter. "We didn't have endless funds from a studio. This was a very independent project that I was self-financing, so it was very challenging periodically. Everyone thought I was crazy when I said I would self-fund the film. We did have financing, and then that fell out," she revealed. "They pulled out at the last minute, and then it was that moment where you go, okay, do we just make a video or do we go ahead and do this thing?" Now she went ahead with it, but it wasn't really the best idea. Next we have her Mariah feud. The Jennifer-Mariah feud has played out since the early 2000s, and it all began with four little words Mariah Carey once uttered to a German reporter: "I don't know her." Now both stars have repeatedly been asked about the comment, and they can't seem to decide whether they like each other or not. When Andy Cohen brought up the feud on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer played the whole thing off, saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other." She added, "I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her." However, during a 2016 appearance on The Wendy Williams Show, J.Lo had other thoughts. "Mariah does say that. She's forgetful, I guess," she slammed. "We've met many times." Now that same year, Mariah spoke to Andy Cohen about the feud and stood her ground, reiterating, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" Then, following Mariah's disastrous New Year's Eve performance that December, Jennifer found an opportunity to throw shade. When an Instagram user posted about the train wreck show, writing, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." J.Lo liked the post. Then, when Mariah published her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, in September 2020, she not only revealed the root of her feud with J.Lo, but she also made sure to throw shade at her. In the book, Mariah slams her ex-husband, Tommy Mottola, the then chairman and CEO of Sony Music Entertainment, accusing him of trying to ruin her career and getting Jennifer Lopez involved. And finally, we have her lying about products. In December 2020, Jennifer made headlines when she insisted that the secret to her flawless complexion is olive oil. The star spoke out ahead of the launch of her J.Lo beauty skincare range. Speaking to Page 6 at the time, Jennifer said of olive oil, "It's a secret I've used all over the years because it really does work." She wanted to encourage people to also be vigilant with sunscreen, explaining, "One of the big things I would encourage everybody to do from the time they're 15 years old, even younger, is wear sunscreen every day." But an eagle-eyed fan may have spotted one more way that Jennifer maintains her super smooth and glowing skin in videos and photos: filters. TikTok user @NeedTheDeets exposed the trick when they uploaded a clip from one of Jennifer's social media posts from February 2023, which highlighted the moment an apparent filter glitched. "Wait for the filter to fall off to see J.Lo's real skin texture," they captioned the video. Now in the footage, Jennifer looks absolutely flawless as she talks about going to the gym, but sure enough, at one point she leans closer to the camera and her skin looks much more relatable. Jen quickly readjusts herself, making the glitch a blink and you'll miss innocent moment, but viewers still found the filter slip-up hilarious. The way she jumps back when she realizes, one person commented. Another observed, "I love how the filter deactivated on telling. Filter literally snitched on cue." Now, in fact, Jen looked so good that people shared their sadness that she even felt the need to alter her appearance online. And others argued that it isn't appropriate for Jen to digitally enhance her skin when she sells skincare products. Now, regardless, if you're gonna use filters, just make sure they work properly. Now, starting off, we have her falling out of her dress. In 2011, J.Lo had a mishap while on the German TV show When in Das. Now, the show was being filmed in Spain when Jennifer suffered the embarrassment in front of a stadium audience as well as other celebrities present on the show. Now, not to mention, the show was live. Now, she first performed without any incidents, wearing a black mini dress and stilettos. Her second appearance on the show was a sit-down interview outside in a bullfighting arena. Now, she looked amazing in a long belted dress with a plunging neckline and a matching head wrap. In true J.Lo style, she had a grand entrance in a horse-drawn carriage before taking a seat. Now, as J.Lo was being helped to her seat by the show's host, the front of her dress opened a little bit too much and her entire breast fell out of her dress. Now, a crowd of thousands was there to witness the infamous wardrobe malfunction, and within the hour, the picture was on the cover of the world's #1 worldwide tabloid and on the internet. Next up is the awkward exchange. Now, Jennifer and Ben were spotted out together amid divorce rumors, but their outing was just plain awkward and it seemed to make everything worse. Now, the couple, joined by Ben's mom, were supporting the actor's son Samuel at his basketball game. As the pair walked in, Jen leaned forward to give Ben a slightly forced-looking kiss on the cheek. Now, Ben appeared to tense up and it didn't look like he enjoyed it at all. Now, did Jen think doing this would show everyone that they're still in love and have no marriage problem? If so, it backfired because many people are calling the interaction forced and awkward. Ben then put his hand around J.Lo, but his hand never fully made contact with her lower back. Now, it also seemed like he may have dodged a full-on kiss on the lips based on the off-kilter nature of the embrace. Now, as they walked up the steps of the venue, Ben stayed at least 5 feet apart from J.Lo, who ventured ahead. Ben then took a moment to speak to his mom, looking more at ease before waving his hand at photographers, and then they all went inside. And now let's talk about the insensitive comments. Now, let me give you some background onto why everyone felt that J.Lo was trashing belly dancing. So, a part of the 2020 Super Bowl performance featured young dancers sitting in glowing cages, which many people assumed represented the immigrant children in cages at the US border. But J.Lo apparently had a hard time convincing the NFL to do this and says, quote, "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing butts and effing belly dancing." She went on to say that she wanted something real, something that's gonna make a statement, something that's gonna say we belong here and we have something to offer. Now, if you're confused as to why this was controversial, it's essentially because she compared the art of belly dancing to just shaking your butt for the hell of it. In fact, that particular line was shared across Twitter and people were very mad. It was just a little culturally insensitive to say, considering that the dance has been associated with Middle Eastern cultures and it's something that Shakira has become known for, using it to channel her father's Lebanese, Syrian, Arab roots. Then there's the racism. 20 years ago, Lopez was approaching full actualization as an entertainer, but a single from her second album, J.Lo, almost derailed her career entirely. The Murder Inc. remix of I'm Real, which features Ja Rule and owned radio in 2001, was ruined by the N-word she drops in her final verse. Yes, now the issue was that the song was an instant hit, so much so that 10 years later in 2011, Billboard gave it the 6th spot on its 40 biggest duets of all times list. But rightfully so, people were outraged by her use of the loaded term. Not only because she's a Latina artist, but at her level of success where she has a platform and sets an example to young fans, using such a derogatory word is at best offensive. But as the accusations of racism started to mount against her, she eventually spoke out to defend her actions on the Today Show, saying, "For anyone to think or suggest that I'm racist is really absurd and hateful to me." Although many people think this is not an excuse, it was later revealed that the track was actually written by Ja Rule himself, and he encouraged J.Lo to say it. Moving on to the price tag. Jennifer has suffered an awkward and somewhat revealing wardrobe malfunction while attending the Dolce & Gabbana fashion show at St. Mark's Square in Venice. Now, she managed to show just how much she spent on her outfit, literally. Though someone like J.Lo has a huge team surrounding her, they missed missed an important detail in her outfit, as Jennifer wound up with the paparazzi catching the price tag still attached to her outfit. Now, the label was only visible when the cape was blown open from the wind, which made it pretty noticeable in the photos of her outside. Now, the singer's bodyguard held her hand while she walked alongside her glam team, who again didn't seem to notice the tag hanging from her, which is just crazy because she has such a big team. Now, Jennifer didn't seem to notice it either, and I need to ask, were they planning on returning it? Did they leave it on purpose? And this isn't the first time that this has happened to a star, as a similar incident happened to Meghan Markle years back. Now, I just want to know why people on their team aren't being more attentive to detail, as the tag just ruins the whole outfit. Then there's the Mark Anthony romance. Celebrity gossip magazines could not get enough of the power couple in the early 2000s. They were absolutely everywhere, and it seemed like fans loved the pairing. But their beginnings as a couple were questionable to say the least. Anthony married former Miss Universe Dayanara Torres in 2000, while Jen was dating Ben Affleck around the same time. But the on-again off-again couple picked their romance back up while Anthony was still married to Dayanara. So less than a week after Anthony's divorce was finalized, the couple surprised fans by getting married in a small casual ceremony in her Beverly Hills home in early June. Now, it really begs the question to whether or not J.Lo was some kind of homewrecker, because the timeline of the rekindled relationship seemed really off. Now, I mean, he actually broke the other woman's heart, as she said, "You go through hell. I cried until there were no tears left, until I was numb. I didn't want to eat, I didn't care to get dressed or take a shower, I just wanted to lie there." Now, Anthony's feelings for Jennifer might have been there all along because the two had history, but he should have put more thought into who he chose to marry in the first place, so in a way, they're both at fault. On to Ben's love letters. Okay, so this isn't embarrassing because Ben truly loves her, but it's because J.Lo exposed Ben's love letters without asking him. Now, J.Lo released an album called This Is Me Now, and she made a movie for it and then a documentary for it. Now, the documentary exposed a lot about J.Lo and her life, and it was called The Greatest Love Story Never Told, and it was about the making of the record and the film. Now, when her husband Ben Affleck pops up in the doc, it's often to express concern his private love story is being used for something he didn't particularly want, which hey, can't blame him for that. Now, the doc is actually named after a scrapbook Ben gifted Jennifer for Christmas in 2021, stacked with every letter and email they'd written each other over the last 20 years. Now, Jennifer showed the book to her producers and songwriters on her first day of making her new album without asking or telling Ben. "It became like our Bible," she says in the doc. "We just left it there in the studio." Now, this revelation comes within the first 5 minutes of the doc, and right out of the gate, Ben is not shy about his discomfort. He's shocked that Jennifer would share something so personal with her collaborators, and now, of course, with the world. Then there's the performance gone wrong. In July 2022, while Jennifer was performing, she had a mishap with one of her outfits. While performing, her bodysuit ripped, forming a small visible hole on her backside during one of her songs, but she didn't miss a beat, continuing to sing and dance like the professional that she is. Now, she actually posted a video of it laughing at herself on her TikTok page. Jennifer combined the video with the viral sound "Oh No" by Creepa, and it definitely was an oh no moment indeed. Now, this isn't the first time she's had her bodysuit rip while performing, as in 2016 Jennifer was performing for a live audience in Las Vegas when she suffered a wardrobe malfunction towards the end of the show. When she and her other dancers went and thanked the crowd for coming out and taking their final bows, J.Lo had a mishap with her bodysuit. As she went on to link arms with the background dancers, unfortunately for her, when she bent down, the stitch around her hips burst open, showing a bit of skin underneath. Now, thankfully it happened at the end of her show, but wow, it sure does seem like this happens often. Next up is her diva behavior. In 1997, J.Lo had her big break in the film Selena. It was a success with audiences and critics. She was praised for her performance. She has been very successful as an actress and has appeared in numerous films, as well as her popular singing career. Now, she's one of the most recognizable and popular celebs in the world, so it makes sense that she has a large staff working for her. Now, apparently though, she also makes demands from her staff. In 2012, reports surfaced that Jenny from The Block demanded staff working for her make no eye contact or speak with her. While having work done on her San Fernando Valley home, she demanded that none of the helpers, drivers, or contractors have any interactions with her, although these rumors were never confirmed. And reportedly, when flying first class, she doesn't like anyone to bother her, even if it's a flight attendant. One time, a flight attendant offered her a drink and she refused to acknowledge him. She said to her assistant, "Please let him know I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Now this rumor hasn't been confirmed, but it does reinforce her diva image. It seems like she doesn't appreciate the help that she gets. And finally we have too many requests. Now for those of you who don't know, a rider is a list of requirements or conditions that a star expects in addition to their appearance fee when they are guests on shows or performing on tour. The celebrity gossip Instagram account De Moi recently shared a screenshot to reveal Jennifer's demand under a food rider. A source wrote to the IG handle J.Lo's food rider, and it specifically includes pumpkin seed bark thins, which are only available in the fall, so the production office would have to buy out every store and store them away to make sure they didn't run out until the next fall. Now in the following post, the source also confirmed Jennifer Lopez's beauty rider, which consisted of expensive skincare products including the Dr. Hosheka Rose Day Cream, SK11 Essence, and Mask, as well as La Mer body lotion, among many others. Upon being asked whether the 3-time AMA winning songstress asked for those, the source quipped yes. Now previously, back in October 2020, the celebrity gossip account had shared a photograph of a document that was allegedly the beauty selection of Jennifer's rider. Now a total of 90 products were listed in the document, and her demands included 28 hair products, 4 masks, and 2 different sunscreens, to name a few. Stop, almost no celebrities wanted to be in her movie. Now in order for Jennifer to execute her musical film the way she envisioned the project, she had to front the budget herself. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, she revealed that she self-financed the movie, which cost $20 million in total to produce. J.Lo also had a very hard time booking celebrity cameos. In one scene, the casting director tells her, "We sent out all the offers last night to everybody, and we're waiting to hear back from a few people, like Jane Fonda." A voice off camera then says Taylor Swift is a no, Jason Momoa is not available, Jennifer Coolidge not available, Lizzo not available. J.Lo then says it'd be good to get Bad Bunny to do a little cameo as the bad kid, but of course that never ended up happening. It must have been a red flag that all these big names were turning down her project, but she didn't seem too bothered by it. She said, "I don't want to force anybody to do this who doesn't go. This is going to be fun. Nobody wants to say no to me. Benny, I get that, but when an actor doesn't like a script or doesn't think it's good enough or is worried about it, that's what they'll say. I know that, I've done it." That then brings us to our next point, that she was caught lying in her documentary. Now the project sparked controversy and backlash on TikTok, all because of the way Jennifer was talking about her upbringing in the Bronx. Now in the documentary, Jennifer says the greatest love story never told is about facing the truth of who you really are. But that clip completely backfired when it went viral, as fans started accusing her of misrepresenting herself. Now they see her as performative and insincere, and accused her of exaggerating her working class background, as well as her connection to the Bronx. One super clip that inspired many mocking imitations showed Jennifer tousle her hair while looking into a mirror, reminiscing about her childhood. She says, "I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams." But even though she loves speaking about the Bronx, it's a place she actively avoids. And the reason we know that comes down to an awful ad campaign. The central premise of the ad was that sometimes J.Lo will drive through her old hood in the South Bronx in a Fiat 500 just to stay inspired. Now although it sounds ridiculous, the marketing campaign obviously tried to draw on the singer's famous Jenny from the Block era. Most people recognize the song in which she pays tribute to growing up in the Bronx, which has been a solid part of her image since the 90s. Now in fact, she even titled her debut album On the 6, which is a clear reference to the New York subway train. A press release at the time stated that she'd be traveling through the streets of Manhattan to the Bronx where she grew up. But that ad backfired when it was reported that she never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad, and that a body double stand-in was used instead. Talk about faking it. Next, we have to talk about all the public fights. It's become pretty obvious that their marital bliss isn't quite as it seems, because there's now repeated incidents of Ben Affleck and Jennifer being caught arguing on camera. Now the incident that occurred was shortly after Jennifer's Today interview, with the couple filmed having what looked like a tense argument at a fight for her new movie shot wedding. In a clip that quickly went viral on TikTok, J.Lo appears to taste Ben's drink and then looks at him sternly. She seems visibly upset with her husband as he tries to defend himself and repeatedly says, "Jen." He could also be seen yelling over the music that he did not drink anything. Now, it was theorized at the time that Ben is insisting that he hasn't been drinking alcohol and that she was tasting his drink to check in the video. Now, Ben has been open about his recovery from alcoholism and has been to rehab multiple times over the years, like in 2001, 2017, and 2018. Now, that video has been viewed around 2 million times so far, but surprisingly, most people seem to think that Jennifer is being unsupportive of Ben's struggles. Someone wrote, "They just seem exhausting. This marriage will never see 18 months. Another person commented, "It just looks like she doesn't trust him, picked up the drink to taste it. He's clearly upset." And there seems to be a lot of truth to that. Now let's talk about J.Lo's most embarrassing moment of all, when Ben slammed the car door in her face. Now, the couple went viral once again while running errands in Santa Monica. Video captured of that moment shows Ben looking upset while walking to his car. He then opens the car door for Jennifer so she can get in, but once she's inside, he pretty much slams it shut. Now, when that moment was shared on Twitter, everyone started guessing why he was so angry. Was it because they had gotten into an argument, or was it something else? One person wrote, "Maybe he's just irritated because someone is recording him. I imagine that would get very old." Another person wrote, "I'm sure he's just annoyed at people pointing their phones at them while they're trying to do normal stuff." Now, considering that J.Lo and Ben are one of the most recognizable people in the world, there's bound to be paparazzi following them around all day. Now, it's really no wonder that he feels frustrated, and maybe that's why he's been seen in such a dark mood recently. Moving on to the embarrassing feud with her makeup artist. Scott Barnes, who's worked for J.Lo for the past 20 years, has had to deal with so much of her crazy hot and cold behavior. In the mid-2000s, she essentially banished him after rumors surfaced that someone had leaked info to the press about her and Marc Anthony's secret marriage ceremony. Now, speaking on the Jeff Probst show in 2012, and when asked about how J.Lo treated him, Scott said, quote, "It was like I had the plague." Interestingly enough, eventually she ended up giving him his old job back again after learning the truth, but apparently failed to apologize for being so cold and ruthless towards him. I mean, she literally cut him off without a word and blamed him for the leak without even confronting him. Barnes went on to say, quote, "I went right back to work with her and we just never spoke about it again, which is even weirder." The funny thing is, her celebrity makeup artist would go on to work with her for another 6 years and insisted that they remain on good terms, despite the fact that she ghosted him and didn't even apologize. On to the feud with Shakira. J.Lo didn't hold back when it came to her opinion on sharing the stage with Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show. In her released documentary called Halftime, she labeled it as the worst idea in the world. She said, "If it's gonna be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes, that's what they should have effing done." Basically, it turns out that Jennifer was frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the same amount of time, as opposed to doubling it and giving the woman extra time to shine. Now, as a result, fans slammed the artist for coming off as entitled. While it's true that they only gave the performers 6 minutes each, the action-packed show garnered immense praise from fans across the globe, with many fans commending the woman for showcasing their Latin heritage so brilliantly. What J.Lo was really mad about, though, is that previous solo headliners like Beyonce and The Weeknd received 14 minutes to perform. But judging by her complaints, it's clear that she feels offended that they asked her to share the stage at all. Next up, we have the music theft. It's no secret that Jennifer Lopez has been accused of stealing or borrowing background tracks and vocals from other artists for years. One of the stars who accused her of doing this was Usher in 2005. He claimed that she stole a song that he cast aside while recording his hugely successful album called Confessions. Usher claimed that J.Lo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song that he co-wrote the year before, which was only available online. He said, "I hate it, but I better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect J.Lo to just take it." And apart from being accused of stealing the same sample song that Mariah Carey used for Loverboy, J.Lo was also given songs that were initially intended for Ashanti, which is why a lot of people claim what happened between the two artists was straight up music theft. In September of 2021, J.Lo released I'm Real from her second studio album that she worked with Irv Gotti, but the song was already recorded and mixed with Ashanti's vocals, which is why you still hear her background vocals in Jennifer's version. Moving on to the cheating allegation. Jennifer Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have had an on-again, off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s, with fans even nicknaming the couple Bennifer. Now, I mean, these two just got married last year after they first got engaged nearly 2 decades ago. But the timeline of this relationship is a huge red flag and included alleged cheating. So in July of 2002, J.Lo filed for divorce from her second husband, Chris Judd, citing irreconcilable differences. But this news broke just months after J.Lo had wrapped the movie J.Lo alongside her then boyfriend, Ben. Now, even though she vehemently denied cheating rumors, Ben took out an ad in The Hollywood Reporter, gushing about Jennifer before her divorce wasn't yet finalized. In fact, even Chris Judd's father, Larry, spoke out against the couple and accusing J.Lo of being unfaithful to his son. He insinuated that the affair started during the filming of J.Lo. "I thought Mr. Affleck would honor a married woman and not just go right into the trailer," and added that she'd be happier if she'd tell the truth and that no one in her little circle is going to say one negative thing to her. But we'll never really know the truth of what happened. And lastly, we have that humiliating interview. The infamous movie line interview in 1998 that could have almost ruined J.Lo's career was truly worse than you can imagine. She was 27 at the time, fresh off the success of her film Selena. Now, she basically decided to trash all other celebrities that were big at the time and try to trivialize their career and contributions to the industry. In fact, when asked about Madonna, she actually said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, it was so ironic because J.Lo would go on to do both music and acting for the rest of her career, and critics also trashed her acting on the big screen. Now, at the time, Madonna had been a star for longer than J.Lo, so there was really no comparison there. And when Gwyneth Paltrow was brought up, Jennifer almost seemed to laugh and made it clear that she didn't take her fellow actress's career seriously by saying, "Tell me what she's been in, I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Yikes.
So J.Lo has a habit for being a bit of a diva. Well, actually she's got a habit for being a big diva. Once upon a time, she had somebody fired for just being a fan. Bray Dodage happened to be cleaning J.Lo's hotel room in Germany during her 2012 world tour. Now, as a big fan of the pop star, Bray tried to ask the star for an autograph, only to have 2 of her assistants stop her. Soon after, our poor girl was out of a job and she knew why. A day after the incident, the cleaning company that had employed her at the hotel called and said, "Ms. Lopez complained." This was all said in an interview with the Daily Star. The former staff member said, "I was fired right there on the phone because of an autograph." On the flip side, J.Lo herself did deny the claims with one single tweet saying, "Come on, thought you knew me better than this. Would never get anyone fired over an autograph." Which, like, sure. If that isn't enough to prove J.Lo's awful behavior, how about this next story? An old interview has resurfaced, and it's one where she wasn't speaking too well about her fellow colleagues in the industry. This is what she had to say about 2 major stars at the time. In terms of Gwyneth Paltrow, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work," which is kind of funny when you look at their acting careers today. When asked about Madonna, she said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." The funny thing about this is that Jennifer said this after only having Selena and Anaconda under her belt for her acting career, so I think that's kind of embarrassing, and I'm kind of glad that she got called out. According to several of J.Lo's former staff members, she earned herself the nickname Pay Low because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. This rumor's been going on since like 2003. Back then, Jennifer was spotted in Vegas with Ben Affleck, because that's back when they were dating the first time. The pair had a big win because it's Vegas, and Ben was like, hey, I'm gonna tip the dealer a nice tip, $2,000. But before he could actually give over the generous reward, J.Lo snatched up the cash and swapped it for just $200 instead. So why does Jennifer pay her staff so little? She's like, I had to work hard to earn my money, so should everybody else. Yeah, but also inflation. This is so embarrassing for her. Like, if she had to work hard to earn money, shouldn't she try to help make it easier for others since she knows how hard it is? It just very entitled behavior, and it's really gross. And that isn't the end of the diva behavior rumors. In 2002, J.Lo starred in the romantic comedy Made in Manhattan, so she had to go all over the world promoting the romantic comedy, and when she landed in London, she had people talking about her demands. Because when promoting the movie, she had a couple of interesting encounters with the hotel staff. Deja vu. She stayed at the Metropolitan Hotel, and that's where a lot of folks were like, okay, diva behavior. The staff was amazed by her lavish and extravagant demands, because apparently it was to a level that they had never seen before. Allegedly, she requested that the hotel staff provide her with thousands of pounds of lemon-scented candles. Also, apparently she only travels in style, even when it's a short distance, so she had 7 limousines escort her to lunch at a place that was only like 200 yards away. In 2012, reports surfaced that Jenny from the block demanded that staff working for her make no eye contact or speak with her. While having work done on her San Fernando Valley home at the time, she demanded that no helpers, no drivers, no contractors have any interactions with her. Granted, these rumors were never confirmed, and allegedly, when she's flying first class, she doesn't want anybody bothering her, not even the flight attendant, even though that's like their job. One time, somebody offered her a drink and she refused to acknowledge them. She said to her assistant instead, "Please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime." Once again, none of this has obviously been confirmed, but it doesn't do anything to help with that whole diva image. So now, if you didn't know, earlier this year, Jennifer released her documentary on Amazon Prime called This Is Me Now, a love story, which gave a behind-the-scenes look into her album This Is Me Now and the accompanying movie The Greatest Love Story Never Told. Also, there was supposed to be a tour, but that didn't happen for reasons. So some fans who watched all of the media took to socials being like, hey, we think you're lying about stuff. So in one scene, Jennifer poses in the mirror of her personal gym, she shakes out her hair, and she's reminiscing about her childhood in the Bronx. She said, "I like taking my hair like this, it reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block, crazy little girl who used to be effing wild, no limits, all dreams." But here's the thing, TikTok user Photos by Angela slammed the star in a series of videos because she's like, I went to the same Catholic school as J.Lo. So she accused J.Lo of lying about her experience living in the Bronx. She was like, we both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood. You weren't running up and down the block. This isn't the first round of lies for J.Lo. She's been long accused of not actually singing on her albums, and singer Natasha Ramos took to TikTok to shed light on this rumor. So Natasha, who has a voice pretty similar to J.Lo's, was hired to sing the demo of Jenny from the Block, and the production team liked her voice so much that they asked her to record 5 more songs for the album This Is Me Then, including the single I'm Glad. So Natasha received $3,500 and a backup singer's credit. However, as she claims, and as the original demo demonstrates, it's her voice that appears in the final track. And not only in the choruses, it's her laugh and her yelling from the Bronx. J.Lo only really sings in the verse. J.Lo is kinda notorious for stealing from other artists, and it's kinda crazy. J.Lo technically caught her big break back in 1997 when she starred as the late Latin pop singer Selena in the biography of the same name. And after that, J.Lo ventured into music. Her demo was picked up by music exec Tommy Mottola and Sony Music, and she dropped her debut album On the 6th in summer of 1999. One big hit from the album was If You Had My Love, but that got a lot of backlash, specifically from R&B singer Shantae Moore. Moore had a near-identical song called If I Gave Love, which was recorded a year prior in 1998. Both of these songs were written and produced by Rodney Jerkins, and it's been said that Lopez's then-boyfriend Diddy pressured Jerkins to write a near-identical song for her. And this isn't where all the stealing and thieving ends, folks. Using background vocals, like we mentioned earlier, it's not uncommon in the music industry, but the issue is that J.Lo has passed many vocals from other singers as her own, so committing fraud. Songs like Play and the I'm Real remix feature prominent reference track vocals from Christina Milian and Ashanti, Jennifer and Ja Rule's music video for the I'm Real remix. To break it down, instead of J.Lo re-recording the song, she just left the demo vocals on the song and she failed to credit anybody. She's also stolen or attempted to steal from Usher, Brandy Norwood, Mariah Carey, and many more. Not only that, but J.Lo has been accused of lip-syncing during live performances on multiple occasions. In 2021, fans took to social media during her American Music Awards performance to express their disappointment, claiming that her vocals didn't match the studio version of her song On My Way. Similar accusations surfaced in 2014 during her performance on American Idol, when a lot of folks were like, you're lip-syncing. She was singing I Love You Poppy, by the way. Jennifer Lopez had her former co-star Ryan Guzman fake his relationship status to hype up their movie almost 10 years ago, so claiming claims his ex-girlfriend, who was kind of with him at the time. Melanie Iglesias called out J.Lo on the No Chaser podcast for how she claims Jen acted during the Boy Next Door press run, alleging that J.Lo would hold hands with Ryan at after parties and act like they were an item, but she knew full well he had a real-life girlfriend. So the model says she even met Jennifer at an award show while she was dating Ryan, claiming she gave her an awkwardly firm handshake and an intimidating once-over. Something Melanie says was disappointing, because at the time she viewed J.Lo as a hero. Melanie also pointed out when Ellen DeGeneres directly asked on her show, "Doesn't he have a girlfriend?" J.Lo played dumb, claiming she didn't know. J.Lo faced backlash after revealing she was unhappy about sharing the stage with fellow artist Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl. The duo took the stage by storm at the iconic annual halftime show, with their history-making performance attracting tons of praise from fans and celebrities worldwide. But it turns out that despite the evident success of the joint performance, J.Lo wasn't too pleased with the NFL's decision to have her and Shakira take the stage together, admitting in a Netflix documentary, Halftime, that she thought it was the worst idea in the world. Shortly after J.Lo's comments began surfacing online, fans called her out for her entitled attitude, arguing that regardless of the time constraints, the duo still put on a pretty iconic show. And finally for today, J.Lo says that the craziest rumor she's ever heard about herself was that she was born as a small Guatemalan man. Yeah, so she once recalled the story in an interview. "I've never said this, but one time a makeup artist brought this article that he found, and the article was about how I was actually a small Guatemalan man and how I transformed myself into J.Lo. And it had like a detailed description of the surgeries I went through, including something to make myself taller, the whole wig, and painfully putting each hair in. It was crazy. It was bizarre."